it. 'Cause it was there. We're Art Sluts.
Welcome back to part 2 of my interview with Vanessa Briscoe Hay. Listen in as we discuss the Athens music scene, restoring tracks from old reel-to-reel tape, COVID, and more.
Right. And us, we still have so many great bands and musicians here. I mean, it's like crazy, really.
Right.
The number of people we have here who play. But you really can't make a living here in town being a musician, pretty much. You have to take it out on the road, or you have to have some product or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I think it's, for the most part, pretty hard to make a living as a musician in general, especially... you guys were very true to your core and sticking with your like musical morality, maybe just like how REM, that you weren't going to let people tell you what direction you were going in.
Right. Because they'll do that if you let them. But we were very fortunate to work with Danny Beard, who didn't do that. He did not do that.
Wow.
He just, like, whatever we wanted to do, that's what we got to do. And, now I'm lucky to be working with a subsidiary of New West Records, Strolling Bones Records, and they pretty much let me do what I want to do, too.
Well, you are a queen of the punk scene, so you should be able to do whatever you want. Yeah, Danny Beard, that whole progression, it was like, I mean, I knew the name, I knew Wax and Facts, all of that, but it's like, wow. So his first record he did was Rock Lobster, right?
Lobster, and then he did Kevin Dunn and the Regiment of Women. These were singles. And then he did a single for the B-52s, which was a top-selling independent single at the time. And then, when they signed with Warner Brothers, couldn't put it out anymore. And then the third one was Pylon. And then I forget how it went after that. I guess Method Actors maybe, and some other people. But we were the first album that they put out. We're real fortunate. He had a young woman in radio at the time who came down and helped him, Kate Ingram, who managed to get us on a lot of college radio.
Oh, that's great. And she's from Georgia, Kate Ingram?
Well, I'm not exactly sure where she's from, but at the time she was working for a big station up in Boston. Mm-hmm. And now she's over in, I believe, Bellingham, Washington.
Oh, wow.
She's kind of semi-retired, but working out there. I'm not positive. I think she was helping get some station off the ground in San Francisco, too. But I still have contact with her. Like, when we go to the West Coast, I let her know, and, she gets us played on her station over there.
It's a small community, really, when you kind of break it down. You kind of end up meeting everybody eventually. Here's a track from Pylon's third album, Chain, released in 1990, called Alive Again.
Machine made outsider stuff.
So I know that like the early punk scene was absolutely everybody I've talked to from that time period who was a working musician or artist or dancer or performer. There was such a collective of different people from different communities. Whereas now, I guess now it's kind of coming back together. In fact, now it seems a lot like the 80s. But anyway, the point I was going to make was that did you encounter any kind of issues being female in the industry? Obviously probably not from the players in the underground world, but have you encountered anything that changed your course or changed how you think about things?
Well, I did run into a whole lot of that, and I have to say that's because I was working with the guys I worked with. We just didn't put up with it. I do remember very early on up in Philadelphia, one time there was a sound guy, and he said, "Honey, put your lips a little closer to the microphone. We can wipe the lipstick off later," and that type of thing. And the whole band just turned their backs on him, and they walked over to me, and they were like, "What do you want to do?" I said, "Let's just get sound check over." And they were like, "Okay, let's just get it over with." And he was just frozen out after that by the guys, But back at that point in time, in that post-punk period, I mean, there were quite a few sound people who were females. There were quite a few club owners and booking agents who were female. So I didn't really honestly run into a whole lot of that. I know maybe probably some other people did, and I'm not downplaying that it didn't happen, sexism in rock and roll, but I didn't run into a whole lot of it, honestly.
That's great. Well, and there are, that's kind of an unknown fact that you pointed out, which is there are so many women who have been in the industry behind the scenes, even when time periods where there weren't as many female players. Of course, that's changed a lot. So yeah. And then Supercluster, I had 2 women in the band, and in Pylon Reenactment Society, I have another woman who also worked with me in Supercluster, Kay Stanton, who is a wonderful bassist. She doesn't put up with any of it, Good. That's good. Volume was released originally on Gyrate and then remastered for the 2020 release of Box. So I like to ask everybody, and you being a nurse, this is kind of a twofold question, but did you have any instinct or desire to go back to nursing during COVID? That's part one. And part two is, everybody has a COVID story. Tell me your story, your COVID story.
Okay. I've got no business going back to nursing. Well, I'm 70 years old right now, and it's really not a job for older women just because of how backbreaking and the long hours. But I kept my license up through COVID just in case they needed somebody to give shots or whatever. And I did apply to do that, but they had plenty of people already. A lot of people came out of the woodwork, out of retirement, to do that. And I guess pharmacies and stuff taught techs and whatever how to give shots. Although I give a really good shot, I'm told. And my COVID story, as far as, my husband and I were older, and we had a daughter living with us, and we just stayed as a pod. We didn't go out until we were able to get, the vaccine was available because we didn't want to get it. Now, I didn't get COVID until I think about 2 years ago. Right. And I think because of the vaccine, it was a fairly mild case. But I came back from tour, and then I came down with COVID.
Oh, right. And did you, I was trying to make sure I got the sequence right, but it sounded like that maybe you were in kind of a songwriting phase right before the pandemic started.
Yes, and we were about to go in and record this album that came out in 2024, but because of the shutdown, we didn't have rehearsal or anything together, and two of our members went away to do what they wanted to do, and we brought in the guy who had originally played drums for us, who had to fall by the wayside because he needed shoulder surgery. So then we had to learn all that material again, and then we wrote some material. And then Jason and I, during the pandemic, had remotely together been putting together what became Box for Pylon. And that came out, and I guess it was later in 2020, But I've been working toward reissuing our stuff for years.
Box is a 2020 Pylon release on New West Records, of 47 carefully curated remastered songs and a book detailing the band's history and various artifacts. Here is Gravity, originally released on Gyrate in 1981.
Rock
but we've been encouraged by New West Records, by Brady Brock, to actually make a book. So then I was going through all the ephemera, and I was typing up stuff, and I'm not a good typist, and trying to help find things, just assisting the other people. I was more on the sound team rather than the vision team, with Jason E. Smith, and we were listening 3 tapes, and then he went and took them off the original mix down reels and restored them and remastered them. And it's a good thing he took those off and digitized them, because they were right on the verge of being lost.
Wow.
They had to be baked in an oven.
Oh, wow.
And, it was kind of an experimental thing. You don't know how well it's going to work. You might have to bake it a little longer or whatever.
Right.
Or some of the reels were not, they were kind of like.
So that works.
That they didn't have, you didn't know what was on some of them. They'd taken some of them off and put them on other reels to
Wow.
Make other records or find other things. So it was like a real Easter egg hunt.
Well, and the reels, as it's a limited amount of space. There's no like undo or anything. You got to use as much of that as possible. So yeah, unfortunately, a lot of stuff did get reused. That stuff's so expensive. Well, that's great that you were able to retrieve that. And so the most recent album is Magnet Factory, right?
That's right. That came out February 2024.
I like it.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you like it.
It's really good. I did my first listen, but I'm definitely going to be in rotation for a few days. I really like it.
A trailer in the field, be persuaded. Remember who you are, angel from nowhere. Flowers grow everywhere. Dance alone in your room, fall without a care. You must be brave to live out here, to get away, get away. Watching funny cartoons, eating cereal. Remembering the sky outside, close by. Flowers grow everywhere. Don't be afraid to get away.
was Flowers Everywhere from the long-awaited 2024 Pylon Reenactment Society release, Magnet Factory.
Yeah, well, that was a lot of fun to do. We mostly, we recorded some of it at one place, Chase Park Transduction, and recorded part of it at another place, this way out in the country. The guy, Tom Ashton, who's in the March Violets, he had done some stuff here in town that we really liked. And so then we took all of that and went back into Chase Park Transduction and, it did a little more recording and remixing of it. So I guess that was about a year and a half long process. And then we found a home for it at Strolling Bones Records. And it took, from that point, it took about a year until it came out. So I was real happy with it. In the meantime, but also released the only Christmas song I've ever done called Christmas Days.
Oh, cool.
I ran out of gas today on the bypass while on my way to see my
It was recorded at one of those sessions. We'd just written that song and went in. It was kind of like almost a Pylon kind of thing to do. And so that's just a digital single.
So you said the Pylon thing to do would be that you wrote it yesterday and then you said, hey, let's record that.
We did that several times. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is our newest thing. It's fresher. Let's do this. Our first single was like that. We'd rehearse something to death, and then we're like, this sounds dead. Danny, can we record 2 other songs we just wrote? And it was like, okay,
That's a really great instinct to have, It's good that you had that early on, some people don't learn that until later. Less is more, or go with the flow,
Yeah. Or, just being so full of yourself that if it's a mistake, it's a happy mistake. Just go with it,
Yeah.
That kind of comes out of art school too, don't you think?
That's kind of art, right? Is like, letting go of your control to a certain extent, I'm sure there's artists that are very technical, and that's different in my mind than, David Bowie, or I can name a bunch of other, my favorite visual artist is Yayoi Kusama, and completely lets herself go into her art. You're such a down-to-earth, sweet, nice person. And I wonder, when I listen to you sing, there's just so much passion behind it. Is there anything that you think people would be surprised to learn about you? Or I'm kind of curious about that difference between you. Are you when you sing, is that a different part of you that's reserved for that? Or
I don't know. I don't think I'm schizophrenic, but there is something about art and music that kind of releases. I've just learned to you have to have control and be aware, but the best time of all is when you can forget about everything and just be part of the music. And that's just the best of all.
Absolutely.
I don't know how to describe it. It's probably, what the Buddhists are doing, like be one with everything,
Right.
It's everything is happening all at once. And these sounds that I'm making, they're going out into space, and who knows how far they go, this stuff that's happening, and you're just part of everything.
Here's Too Many Eights, another amazing track from Waves by the supergroup Supercluster. and that energy is super powerful, in and of itself, whether it's recorded or not. It's just that the action of it is really amazing.
Performing live is just the best.
Yeah.
But it is a thing, it's like I was joking with Linda Hopper the other week. We were talking about singing these songs with Michael Shannon and Jason Narducci.
That's so cool.
I know, it was so much fun.
I love that.
I was like scared to death, but I have, terrible fright and stage fright before I go on. But I was telling her, whatever it is, it's always just going to be over in 5 minutes anyway. You just got to get through it, and then, you can relax.
Wow, you still have stage fright.
I always have had stage fright, but I don't really like, it's more internal. I don't like pace around or walk up walls or bite people's heads off. I just sit over there real quiet and just try to breathe and get myself to relax. And then once I walk out on stage, it goes away usually.
Oh, I know. Then you get in your head and you're like, what, am I in tune? Does it sound okay? Yeah.
Unless I can't hear myself. And then I was like,
oh my gosh. Yeah, that you absolutely
holy
right.
guacamole.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. What are we going to do now?
For everything you've put out sounds great. And it's very versatile too. You're definitely not one note. And again, going back to Supercluster, what a great iteration that is as well, which is really, refreshing and fun.
But I will say those were some very sweet people in that band, and I enjoyed it. And I'll help them butcher or destroy a song any day.
It has been an honor to hear Vanessa Briscoe Hay's story and musical journey. But the best way to get to know Vanessa is through her music, which is prophetic, melodic, creative, and full of soul. To check out all of Vanessa's music, go to pylonreenactmentsociety.com. You can purchase most releases through Bandcamp and the most current release, Magnet Factory, on Strolling Bones Records, plus the box set from New West Records. So to end part 2 of my interview with Vanessa Briscoe Hay, let's take a listen to a super cool song, Paris Effect, a digital single released by Supercluster in 2011.
Paris Effect wrecks us all. Paris Effect, we must fall. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.
Thanks for listening to Art Sluts Radio.
Hey, if you identify with the Art Sluts, explore our herstory at artsluts.net. That's ARTSLUTS.net. And purchase downloads of our music wherever you stream music.
All contributions and purchases will go to support Planned Parenthood.
Currently, 21 states have limited access to women's health care, including abortion, and 15 of those have a total ban.
Talking about your abortion experience, voting and donating to support abortion rights will make a difference.
I hate